Get your day started right. From our shack to yours, this is Coffee and Ham Radios. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jim, that was
your
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
I keep waiting for him to fix it. He didn't.
Fix,
I've not fixed it.
Fix his soundboard? Yeah.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. This is Coffee and Ham Radios. Welcome to the show. We have our special guest, Tom, the Dilettante, sitting right over there. We've got Jim from FEP Labs Radio, and we've got the Smoking Ape. I did all my pointing in the right direction. I'm so proud. Oh, that's hard because it's all backwards on camera. I have no idea why, but it's because my camera's not mirrored. I didn't say to mirror my camera. I actually didn't check the box, but you know, this is how live streams go. This is how this stuff works.
I changed my mirror so it looks like I'm looking at you guys. So like if you move me to another box, I'll have to flip the camera again and it just gets confusing. And I never see. God dang it! Now I don't know which way to point again. See, stuff.
There it is. It's gonna be one of those shows. It's gonna be one of those shows, man.
Yes, it is.
So, Ape, did you change your lighting today?
You look different.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you, Tom?
Tom,
tell us a little bit about your channel. What's going on over in the dilettante world, and what does dilettante mean? I know we covered this last time, but we need a refresher.
No, happy to, but I will say, yeah, Ape's got that Rembrandt lighting going on, right, with a nice little shadow here and so forth. It's looking good.
Is it a studio light or something? Maybe a big softbox or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's got a glow. I don't know. Some under nose lighting.
Under nose lighting.
Next time, just do that harsh top-down lighting, right? Get that really good cinematic, dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll turn that off.
Sorry. So to answer your question, no, dilettante, basically tinkerer, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. It's a badge I wear proudly because I don't do any one thing exceptionally well. I just do a lot of shit, just kind of mediocrity, but I like it. And that's basically what the channel's about. Yeah. I don't have
Dilettante. See, I thought it was like a island off the boot of Italy or something like that. Or
my best friend thought the same thing. He's like, dude, what the hell's dilettante? You know,
it means he makes a really good pizza.
That's right.
He's Filipino.
So pineapple pizza, okay, yeah. Ham and pineapple.
Don't hate.
You know, which is my favorite pizza.
That's good, man. That's right.
In the Philippines, they use their ketchup is made out of bananas.
Their ketchup is weird. I've had Philippine ketchup. It's definitely they don't got corn syrup over there.
Well, I got to tell you, they do have surprisingly good barbecue. I've been to the Philippines a few times.
I think pineapples grow on the wrong side of the continent there. I was thinking the Caribbean side. Aren't pineapples a Caribbean thing, not a Pacific thing?
No, pineapples are a Hawaiian thing. They're
Hawaiian,
a Pacific thing.
I was very close then. All right.
Yeah, cool. The largest pineapple plantation in the world is in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Probably
on the Big Island, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I've been there.
Cool.
I haven't been there.
Hawaii's on the bucket list. I want to go to Hawaii.
It's awesome. I'm glad I don't live there because holy crap, everything is like super stupid expensive.
Well, so I looked at that one year, a couple years ago. I was like, what is the price of a house in Hawaii for real though? And you can find some deals, you know, stuff under $200,000 or $300,000, which was shocking to me because everybody always says, "Oh, it's super expensive," and I'm expecting like $2 million plus houses, and it's like $300,000 or less
for like a one-bedroom condo.
Yeah,
that's
not
probably
that it's
a
terribly
one-bedroom
affordable.
open-air thatch roof.
Yeah. So Hawaii's also got this other thing. TC Fits, that is awesome. Thank you, my
TC.
friend. Oh, we got to do the dance, Jim. We got to do the dance.
I don't have dance.
Oh, here we go.
Jeez, it's like playing cards with my brother's kids.
What is this music?
It's what you got to dance to today.
It's the
Fix
best
your
you got.
soundboard or quit your bitching.
I hope this isn't copyrighted material.
No, it's not copyrighted material. Doorknob.
Awesome. So
Thanks,
there's this
TC.
thing they do.
Lord.
There's this thing they do with houses in Hawaii. You can either build a code house or a not up to code house, and they're perfectly cool with it. You go into the local big box store and you say, "I need to do something." They're like, "Oh, is this a code house or not a code house?" You say, "No, it's not a code house." Oh, okay, great. Let's open up the other catalog. Start flipping through pages.
Never heard that.
Cool. What's a not code house?
So you know how like you've got studs that are 16 inches on center,
Yeah.
and you've got to have certain water
So
infiltration.
this is
and
whatever.
non-pervious surfaces and blah 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 and permits and whatever. It's like build it, whatever. Awesome.
Do they disclose that if you want to buy a house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm cool with that.
This is like Alabama housing, basically.
Or Alaska. Yeah. Same thing.
Same thing.
I mean, I get that they're code for code reasons, but I'm a man of my own destiny, and I have no problem with a no-code house.
My buddy lived in Alaska, and he said for his refrigerator, he had a milk crate tied out the window. And just open the window, reach into the milk crate, get whatever you need, and shut it. And
you have to bring it in every so often to warm it up, or the milk's going to freeze, right?
I don't know.
Right, Plasma? Plasma's got the idea. House delete.
That could be awkward.
So Tom, you had some radio questions. You wanted to talk DMR and Wires X and...
I mean, did you iron that T-shirt this morning or something, Abe?
Did I iron my T-shirt?
Yeah.
No, I just took it out of the T-shirt pile. My DX Commander.
So it's the DX Commander shirt. That's actually giving him a little bit of glow up.
Okay. All right.
You know, the takeoff angle.
That could be it.
Oh, I can't do that. Sorry.
I mean, maybe a new face cream or something. I don't know.
No. I honestly don't have anything different. I don't know what you people are talking about.
So Tom, with his strive for mediocrity, has got himself a ton of camera angles. Tom, show us the radios you wanted to talk about today.
Oh, geez, yeah. So I'm just a big dork. I've got a couple setups here. So I've got a little over-the-shoulder one here. That's not working. I've got my computer.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, hold on. Why are you not working? See, Jim, you jinxed me earlier by saying freaking...
What do we say, Jim? What do we say?
Cards.
It's like playing cards with my brother's kids.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
I meant the other ones. Like
I'll do it this way.
no demo survives first contact.
True that. No demo survives first contact with management.
That's the Nuggets motto on Monday night when we just wing it.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. Look at that. What is that? A 5D? A 3D?
Okay, so the Yaesus are the ones I'm most familiar with, and I'll leave it to y'all and the audience here as far as what we might want to talk about here. So Yaesu is a big fan of HTs, but within the Yaesu ecosystem, one thing I want to do and learn how to do is set up a HRI 200, right? Basically get a personal room, get that set up so that I can hit it with a hotspot. I'll give you that bad boy here, right?
It's so fancy.
So I've got a hotspot.
So you've got the professionals here with you right now. I'm going to give you the most important thing with that Wires X unit. Take it out of the box.
Yeah, that's probably a good start.
Yeah.
Step one.
So
take it out of the box.
So
well,
just
I'll lose shit if I do that. Sorry, go ahead.
Right.
While Tom is deboxing, that's our professional word for unboxing. Debox. So while Tom is deboxing, something that I want to point out. So the Wires X and
That's the slow jam
YSF
that you play
are
when
not
you're
the
setting it
same
up.
thing. They are not the same thing.
Say that again.
Wires X and YSF are not the same thing. They
So
are
I've
similar,
heard.
but they are not the same thing. You can create a room, a talk group, with what Tom is unboxing. Sausalito Steve, thank you, man. That's awesome. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you, Steve.
$19.99. This is the Walmart show.
I
Love
reckon.
it.
I thought it was the Prince song.
That was party like. So with Wires X,
Music
you
cue,
have to
Jim.
use. Oh my lord!
Playing cards.
What is this music?
It's all that he's got, which is
what I
better
got.
than what you've got because you got nothing.
Right? What do you got?
Dude, I'll share my epidemic sound with you, man. Come on.
Oh, let's do it. Let's
I'm
do
too
it.
cheap. This is
Epidemic.
Tom. This is some of the defaults built in the smart pads on the mixer.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And I just haven't paid for a license-free subscription to anything yet to put other tunes on there. So that's the. Anyway, all right.
Step
So
one.
Wires
Thanks,
X.
Steve.
Wires X requires a dedicated radio and a dedicated computer and the HRI 200, and you will have your own talk group.
That's
all
what
that
I'm planning.
gear, that's all it runs. That's all it's going to do. I mean, you could probably, surf the internet on it on your Wires X computer, but you've got to run their app, and you got to have the HRI, and you got to have a Yaesu radio dedicated to that function.
Right, Brian?
that
And
will
you have
serve
to
it.
sign up for it too, right? Like you can't just plug and play.
Well, I mean, it's free. It's free. There, you go to Yaesu and you say you want to set up a Wires X room, and they ask for the ESN or some digital code that's built in the radio, and then they assign you a number, and you're good to go. I have one. I never have used it, but so that will set you up your own talk group or room, whatever you want to call it. And then the other way to do it is if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can literally download the software called YSF Reflector and create a YSF room for the cost of a Raspberry Pi and some free software.
So that's an interesting thought, Jim.
And it
because
does
that's
the
another
same thing at the end of the day.
I have an old laptop I can dedicate to it. So my plan was to use that laptop, this HRI, and my FTM 400 out of the Subaru, replace it with a Kenwood. But I also have a Raspberry Pi. Oh, no smart ass comments. I will unbox it. Starter kit. I told you, I just have a bunch of crap on the shelf that I'm waiting to get to. But that's one of the things. I did not know you can use a Raspberry Pi to set up a reflector.
It's
the shelf.
I spent it's
Well, hold on a second.
because
It's
they
to
don't
set
talk
up
about it a lot.
It's to set up a YSF reflector, which would mean at that point you would need a YSF transport in order to get to that reflector. So let's say you set up your YSF reflector on your Raspberry Pi at your house and you connected it to the internet, and it's always available. If you were out driving around in your car and you had another hotspot, or you were able to connect to a YSF repeater, then you could use that transport layer to connect to your YSF back at the house.
Yes.
So what a lot of people do with the HRI nodes, it's my understanding is that all I need is a Wires X compatible radio, like a 70, right? Like a 70D. And then I can be out on my property or whatever, and I can talk into that and use RF to get to my HRI node and then connect to my Wires X room. Now, they say the Wires X room is an analog room, not a digital room. I don't quite understand that because it sounds like, it sounds like it's all digital to me, connected to a computer and all that stuff. And then I know that you can use the computer to make that room available on the internet.
Well, the other thing, and this goes to what you were talking about, Abe. So here, there is a Fusion repeater, and I assume that they have a bridge, because one thing, if you have a Wires X room, the only thing that can connect to it, you cannot link a YSF hotspot to a Wires X room. They will not talk to each other. Yaesu only allows Yaesu gear to talk to Wires X rooms. So the repeater locally, I don't know what all their back end is, but I can hit it with my FTM 400 as a repeater, and I can change rooms to whatever I want through the radio. And I can do that through an HT or through my FTM 400 in the truck. I think that there's some back end bridging that the repeater owner has to do. And then the other thing you get into with repeaters and any kind of room. So for example, the local repeater will not let us, I can't connect to the Toads YSF room. The repeater just won't let me do it. It'll let me connect to like Alabama Link or
he would have to
America
add
Link
that in its wait list.
Yeah.
See, I noticed something like that because a lot of it's new to me. I had got the hotspot to work, and I was using my FT5 going through it, and I was looking for a local because we have a Fusion repeater near me, and there's a group. It's a Illinois Chicago talk group or whatever, and there's several local repeaters hooked up to it. And I like to talk to folks on that one. It was not on the damn list. I couldn't get it, and then recently they added something, and now it appears. That's kind of what I want to do because I think you've seen this, Ape. This is my overlanding rig right now. It's a GX470, and I've got a cell booster and all this other crap in it. What I want to do is be able to, while on the road or out there, use hotspot when I'm nowhere near a Fusion repeater and still kind of talk to my buddies locally in that group. And I'm not quite sure how to make that happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you would need to have that hotspot connected to the internet somehow, right? So,
yep, that's what I was going to use, like the cell booster and like a phone hotspot or something.
Yeah,
assuming that would work.
Yeah.
And so what you can do is you can have your own YSF room if you wanted to do it on Yaesu, or you could have with DMR. You used to be able to get a talk group ID. Now with at least with Brandmeister. So with DMR, there's multiple networks. There's like TGIF. There's Brandmeister, probably the two bigger ones. Somebody's going to come in here and tell me, Ape, you don't know shit because it's something else. But so you can get a talk group on one of those.
Pretty good today, so it's.
I mean,
it's
I think it's a new lotion or something. Maybe.
But you can
showered before the.
You can actually use your DMR ID as a talk group.
Yeah.
So you can just have your buddies all do a group call to that, and then they should all be able to be able to hear each other. Or you could use one of theirs.
And he's not full of crap because also it does not preclude you from using your DMR ID to talk to that talk group. It doesn't shut you out. Just exactly what he's talking about. Exactly. and you can still use your own. Because I know I've heard a lot of people saying, well, then I can't use mine. That's not true. You still can.
So you're saying like DMR ID? Do you mean like DG ID for Yosu?
So yeah. So do you have a DMR ID at all? Have you applied for one?
I have applied for one. That was another thing. I know. So I don't want to keep you on here forever, but I got 2 DMR radios that I have unboxed. That I got a DMR ID. I haven't figured it out yet. I started getting into Yaesu and DMR at the same time, and I realized I'm not going to be able to learn both at the same time, so I focused on Yaesu. Yeah. But I'm getting to a point where I want to try to figure out DMR.
That's how I did it. That's exactly how I did. Same thing. So when you sign up for DMR, you get a DMR ID, and it's a 7-digit number they're handing out
for now.
Yeah. So they'll issue you a DMR ID, and that is tied to your call sign. Mm-hmm. I can't remember your call sign off the top of my head, but so what'll happen is after that gets in the system, whenever you talk to anybody DMR, it'll show up as Tom and your call sign and your DMR ID, and that'll be in a database, and then everybody can download that database and keep their contacts in the radio fairly fresh. And you can download parts of the database, all the database. The database is getting a little big for most radios now, so you have to kind of be a little creative with what you download. But
well, there's no cleanup. So like if I change my call sign,
right,
then I can get I have to get a new DMR ID, but I don't know what the process is for going back and removing the previous record.
Oh, you do? You have to get a different ID?
I guess you could go and you could file a request with whoever.
I think they'll change it. I don't know.
And get them to change it. But what you see is people end up with having multiple DMR IDs.
Because that happened to me. I changed my call. When I was issued was KD9PXF, and now I'm N9JDI, and my DMR ID is registered to the old one. I haven't checked it since, so crap. I guess I might have to.
Yeah,
you are the problem there, son. That's right.
Yeah.
So JDI, that's a vanity call. What's the JDI stand for?
Oh, come on, man. Star Wars.
Just making sure.
I was hoping it didn't mean he was a lawyer. I mean, I thought it was like Juris Doctor.
N9JED.
Juris Doctor Indiscriminate or something. I don't know
there
what that
wasn't
means.
many 9-zone.
I thought he was an IT guy, but
I know it took me a while to get mine.
I looked for a while.
I finally just gave up and said, "Give me any one of these 25."
Right? Anything that doesn't look stupid.
Well, I got one anyway.
So, I think you saw me pull it out. Who the hell is still including CDs in hardware?
Throw it away.
Well, like I ordered a multimeter and it came with a CD. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. I haven't had a CD player on the computer in probably at least 10 years.
Right. I don't have a CD-ROM anywhere. So I don't need it, right? I'm assuming I can download everything I need from the internet.
Richard asking the important questions. That. So, Richard, you don't need to download the entire DMR database. You can just put in the people that you care about. Right. And you can put that in manually from the front panel of most of your DMR radios. So, I mean, I think that the entire DMR database is like 270 to almost 300,000 people.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
I like to have as many in there as I can because that way I can look at my radio and I can see their name, their call sign, their location.
Right.
And at least with the DMR6X2, you can change what you see on there. And there's tools out on the internet that will allow you to filter the DMR database. So if you wanted to exclude, like the Canadians, man, I don't want to talk to the Canadians, so I don't download the Canadian call signs. But if it was any
VK, don't
Victor
go.
Echoes.
Oh wait, that's Australia. Never mind. VK's all right.
VEVA.
VE. Yeah.
VEVA, whatever. Viva. No Viva people.
Viva.
Even though they're very polite. I mean,
but you can filter, and that's the easiest way to do it. Or you can put it into a spreadsheet and then manipulate it there, and then use the spreadsheet to import into your radio.
I will say that DMR is probably can be the most daunting to start with when you start messing with it.
It seems more ubiquitous, but yeah, it lost me at color codes or something of that nature.
It's just a fancy repeater PL tone. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just a digital PL tone.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep. And generally, you're going to set it to 1 and not care about it anywhere. I mean,
and then there was
fancy,
unless you dual time codes or something like that.
So DMR will time slots. DMR will do TDMA, time division multiplex access. I think I got that acronym right. For hotspot use, you're not using it. typically most DMR repeater owners set up, and I don't remember which one is which. I'd have to look at my radio. One time slot will generally be local talk onlys on most DMR repeaters, and then the other time slot on repeaters will be whatever, and they may have a list that they have filtered of talk groups they'll let you go to. If you're doing this at home on your hotspot, you set it to time slot 2 and don't care about it, because everything will be time slot 2 because you're on a simplex hotspot. I mean, we could do like multiple shows on DMR.
Sounds like
all these
a
modes.
bit of a learning curve compared to Yaesu.
Once you figure it out, Steve, is that your chart? I like that.
That's Abe.
That's
Abe.
Is that Abe's
I'm
chart?
not that smart.
Yeah, I put this chart together.
Did you do that for him?
No, I did this for a video I did a long time ago, and I've used it to help other people since then. But what's crazy is I've seen it like on different groups and forums and stuff where people posted it. Nice. And I was like, hey, I know the guy who put that together.
You're spread far and wide.
Yeah, but so like if you do like just to understand the concept, then it's a good idea to manually program them a couple times just to get that. There's a couple of things that you need, and that your radio should have, like time slots 1 and 2, color codes. I think they go through 9. I could maybe it's higher. I don't know. But then you'd also need your talk group. Each one of these has a name and a number, but they feed into, forget RX group. Like older DMR radios require you to have an RX group. That means that a talk group needs to be a member of that group in order for you to listen to it. But like with the modern ones, like the Anytones, you don't need that. But so what's important is that when you have a channel that you're programming in there, your channel automatically will get a number, like relational database. You give it a name, Tom's local repeater. But then when you get your talk group, you have to populate that from a table of talk groups that are already populated in your tool. So like you might want to have Illinois statewide, you might want to have your local county talk group, you might want to have worldwide, you might want to have a USA talk group, and then you might want to have the Overlanders talk group. So you just automatically put those talk groups into your CPS first. So that way when you go to do your channel, you can pick, you already have them that you can pick from a pick list. And then your talk group is assigned a color code. Just like Jim said, it's the exact same thing as a PL or a CTS. You know what I'm talking about, those.
A tone.
Tones. It's the exact same thing.
Atonement.
Now, the thing is that with DMR, what they wanted is they wanted it to take up 6 kilohertz of bandwidth, as opposed to like traditional FM, which is around 25. So it uses narrow FM, which is 12, and then it breaks the signal into millisecond chunks. So you actually have 2 channels operating on the same frequency.
Oh, hence the time slots.
Yep, and so it's toggling on and off, on and off, on and off. So that way it meets that bandwidth limitation. So that's the thing, is like color code is their PL tone that you're used to. Time slot is the only thing that's new, really, when you think about it. But the problem is that you need to have to do that with analog. And then you just have your TX and your RX frequency. Then when you have these channels, you add them either to zones or scan lists. What you do, like I create a zone like near my house called QTH, and then I have a zone for near my work because I can access different DMR repeaters in each one of those zones. And so like if I'm at home and I'm flipping through the local repeaters, I don't need to scan or use a zone to toggle through anything that is out of my range. So I just separate them that way. And then scan list, typically with like an analog / DMR radio, you can put in channels that are of both. So I can scan my local analog repeaters as well as my DMRs.
Yep.
So stupid question. When you're saying zones, are these like literally geographic zones?
Logical, however it makes sense in your head.
Whatever zone you want
any
to
kind of
call it.
cohorting, any kind of grouping.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a zone of channels for the hotspot here in the house, and I have a zone of channels for the repeater, and I have an analog zone. So in the analog zone, there's only analog repeaters, nothing DMR, it's just analog radios. The repeater one is digital, but it's for repeaters that I don't normally hit in my house. In my house, I just use the hotspot. So I have 3 zones, and then from within those zones, and it's set up like he's got, there's different channels with those talk groups assigned to each channel on whatever frequency. So zones let you aggregate the channels into something that makes sense.
Okay.
And you're going to have multiple channels. I don't think you mentioned this, Abe. You'll have multiple channels for the same thing, depending on how you hit it.
Well, So the thing is, like with the Anytones, you have the ability to have, I call it promiscuous mode. So I can listen to any talk group that is transmitting on that frequency, and I can filter it based off of color code, or I can wildcard it based off of color code and talk group. So I can listen to any of that, and then I can freeze the radio and then TX on one of those if I want, if I want to communicate bidirectionally. So that's the one thing is like with the older DMR radios, you have to program a channel for every single talk group. So if your local repeater has like there's 5 talk groups that I was talking about, you need 5 different channels, but you don't with the Anytone radios. And that's why the Anytone radios are.
Now, see, that's features that I haven't used on mine.
So Richard,
what you're talking about, because I've never used those. I do it the old fashioned hard way.
Right.
You fancy.
And maybe if this is getting too newbie for your normal audience here, then we can switch gears. But I see that Richard mentioned a code plug. And as I've been reading through how to set these things up, I come across that term a lot. Can someone kind of dumb that down for me, potato head style?
Config file. That's all it is.
Just database.
Your database for the radio's program. That's where you're going to set up your digital contacts. So America Link is, I don't know what it is. Alabama Link is 31010. So I'm going to put Alabama Link in there. I'm going to put in the Toads DMR number, which is 3192083.
It's the same thing as contacts. It's the same thing as an IMG file on Chirp. So you use Chirp to program your radio.
I have,
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. It's just every configuration for the radio.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm guessing folks share all sorts of those things that you can just download and upload yourself.
Yeah, you'll find one in your area.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Would you recommend that as a place to start, and then just modify from there, or start from scratch?
I'd start from scratch because you don't know what somebody. You don't know somebody like Jim could have programmed that code plug, and so some DMR radios do have remote control capabilities because the protocol is based off of fleet radios that were sold to businesses, right? So if I have a radio in my fleet that gets lost or stolen, then I can issue a kill command. Now, I'm not saying that people will do that, but you can, right? So I could write a code plug and be like, hey, check out Ape's code plug. And then I can submit a tone and kill all the radios if I want.
No shit.
Right. But I mean, that's crazy talk to think that I've never heard of it happening. I heard it can and they'll get you. But I don't know. I just have always. So here's the thing is you just got to get your hands dirty. And if you mess up, you can delete it and start over. You
can't hurt nothing.
I looked at pre-done code plugs, and the problem with pre-done code plugs is you'll get somebody who thinks one way, and that's how they did the code plug, but you don't understand it that way. Or you'll get 2 different ones that are completely wired differently, and you'll end up. It just makes you more confused. I thought. I just quit looking at them and started from scratch.
Nah, I figured. I learned by doing anyway, but my barrier here is just trying to figure out even how to start on the DMR stuff. So this is helpful. I appreciate it. But yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I know before we jumped on, there's other things. Like I'm curious to see if anyone's actually used any of these Meshtastic things. Got a couple of those that I've been wanting to play with.
What is that? Is that LoRa? Is that
LoRa?
LoRa.
Yeah.
LoRa.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that stuff.
It's got a built-in GPS receiver. It's supposed to be able to transmit. I think it's on 915 megahertz. And they'll just talk to each other, create a short mesh. And allegedly, you can connect it to an app. You can do text messaging and so forth, and it'll send like telemetry information, GPS. It's what I've heard. I haven't played with it. I've gotten as far as soldering on a screen.
It's like a Wi-Fi mesh, right? So it's and what the app does is basically it's a TCP/IP protocol app that allows you that has messaging built into it. Now people have gotten more advanced with those where they'll set up local area networks, like in a community, for example. Somewhere down the road, they have one that's got a little Yagi beam that shoots into. Here, somebody has a tower, put a machine up there for LoRa mesh that points towards a community, and the folks in that community can all connect to that repeater, and then you can actually install apps on your. It's my understanding you can install apps on your computer, and you can actually do TCP/IP networking with like a Windows or a Linux box and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's what I've seen some folks use it for. They'll just put these in a little weatherproof box in a small solar panel, keep it charged up, and they have them around the neighborhood. I don't know enough people in the neighborhood that would do that, but I'm just trying to figure out how it might be used for perhaps mobile purposes.
Yeah, like if I was out back climbing up the street light, putting one of those things on there, I'm sure
that
somebody
would be kind
would call.
of funny.
they would call the police. They'd be like, Ape is up on that light post again. What's he doing now? A solar panel. Yeah.
So Richard's asking, what DMR radio are you using, Tom?
So I started a little low. I've got a Anytone 878 and a radio out of the what is it, a GD77, DG77.
Well, Tom, that's interesting. That's a good
they're,
segue.
they're two popular ones.
Go ahead.
We are going to be hacking on GD77s Monday night on Nuggets.
Oh shit! I'll have to
I was
tune
wondering
in.
why that was a segue.
There you go.
What are you doing on Monday night, Tom?
I've been trying. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the GD77 is pretty popular, and it's less popular and ugly third cousin. The Baofeng DM1801 is basically the same radio.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, ugly cousin. And the one that got left outside at the dance, not inside even. And we're going to be hacking on those Monday night on Steve's show.
Oh, weird. Check this out. So, real quick, there's something going wrong with PSK Reporter. I just made an FT8 contact, and my last reported spot on PSK Reporter was like 15 minutes ago. I thought there was something wrong with my radio station. So, it happens. If you're ever trying to debug some FT8 stuff and you're not getting spots on PSK Reporter, it could be them. Anyway, back to the show.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that PSA.
PSA, yeah.
I do want to know what hand cream he's using, though, because, I mean, he's got a glow. He really does.
Look at that, right around the eyes. I mean,
rubbed off on
it's
his
the eyes
cheek,
that get you. The windows to the soul.
So Don's saying that Laura is not for TCP/IP. So it doesn't use the TCP/IP packet switching protocol. It uses some other. I won't call them IP addressable. I'll say addressable packet switching protocol. So I stand corrected.
Yeah, is it? I think is it like AX25 or something like that?
I don't know. I'm reading it now. It doesn't really say. It says it uses LoRa, which is a MAC
Long
address.
range LoRa.
Which is a MAC address.
LoRa.
Medium access control protocol. So I don't know, but I'm sure it works the exact same way.
A Baofeng drinking game.
Yeah. And we do bingo around here too, but Chuck's not here, so I don't know how you're going to get firefighter. Oh, Moxon. Yep. Sorry. I guess that's how you're going to get him.
I mean, I could drop firefighter too. You know.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with PSK Reporter. If you look me up on PSK Reporter, I'm not there.
I'm using your call sign.
Oh, okay.
Well, that explains it.
The Ham Alert's confused because it's coming from Nebraska and from Luck.
That's not what I wanted. Hey, T-Ray, what's up? Hadn't seen you in here in a while. Raphael, you sneak it in the back door, man, while she's outside or gardening, or wait till she's in the can.
Oh, this radio? No, this is the same one I showed you last week.
Yeah.
What?
What do you think? I got more than one bang in here. I wait till she's not paying attention, then I get them out of the truck and ease on into the house.
They multiply in the box.
Put them in the gun safe, and she doesn't even know.
And acting like they're not interested in the different radios, but they know exactly when you get a new one. And
I don't know. Mine look enough alike that so you can buy. Plus, it's handy when I'm working from home and she has to go to the office. I just schedule delivery for when I'm home alone.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, they both say Radiodity. They're the same radio, right?
It's the same radio, honey. It's not different.
They look identical. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, see, what I would suggest is that get a scanner, because when you have a scanner, everybody wants to listen to it when there's drama, right? So whenever my wife, I hear police sirens, turn the scanner on, or something's happening on the other street, turn the police scanner on.
So any scanners you'd recommend? Like digital ones?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, the was it the SDS 100? Is that
the 100 and 200? The 100 is the HT, which I have, which I can't get because it's behind the green screen.
Mine's upstairs.
Uniden?
Yeah. The SDS 100 is the handheld. The SDS 200 is the base model.
Tom, you can share that screen.
They are expensive.
But
if you live in a metro area, which you do, they have the best multipath rejection of any of the P25 capable scanners. And since you are probably in a what do they call that, Ape, with the P25 with the multiple sites? I cannot think of the word.
You talking about multicast?
Multicast, thank you. Since you're probably in a metro multicast area, you want something that has the multicast filtering, and the SDSs are jam up at it. Much better than anything else.
So, like, if you have two, let's say, fire department repeaters close to you, but one's a little bit closer, and they both broadcast the signal at the same time, you're going to get overlapping and you're going to get some interference. So what these do is they reject that. The other one is the unit in home patrol. It has a touchscreen interface that works out really well. That's probably the most user friendly. And so like when you fire the unit in home patrol up, and even these can be set up this way, the first thing you do, it'll ask you for your zip code. You just type in your zip code, and then it'll have a menu where you can pick the different things that you want to listen to or filter off of. And it's super duper handy. But I mean, it is a rabbit hole. Like I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, they just checked the water tower down the road. Now I know the water's good. I mean, I'm just listening to stuff that I don't need to be.
Interesting thing about Chicago is that they're still using analog FM on a lot of their stuff. Right? Yeah. So they're up in the 400 megahertz range. So I get a lot of crap on that on my SDR video. It's like, I can't listen to cops. I'm like, I specifically said, like, if they're still using unencrypted analog, then you can listen. But yeah, I think that was lost.
A lot of places. So what they'll do is they'll have funding to get 25 P25 radios or whatever, enough to outfit the whole team. But then there's other people who need to hear those signals. So what they'll do is they'll forward them over on just analog. So like we know the guys at the volunteer fire department who are using Baofeng so they can hear when a call goes out. But like the chief has got a P25 Motorola because he needs the P25.
That's how we did it. The county got the county grant. I was in the fire department here for a long time. The county got a grant for P25 radios for the fire departments. So each department got 6 of them. So we didn't give them out to just the hillbillies who showed up randomly.
Right. So they get a Baofeng.
Right. They got about everybody. We did not have Baofengs. We had Kenwoods. We had our own teeth. Most.
Any specific? Go ahead.
So yeah, just exactly like Abe said, they do simulcasting. So that's another thing. And then on P25, it's digital, just like Fusion. And it's actually P25 is a cousin to DMR and also to NXDN. They're all very closely related modes in the way they operate. And they're like second cousins to Fusion, basically. But then you can also encrypt P25 phase 2, which is what the public safety people, some of them do.
Right.
Like here in Montgomery County, Montgomery City Fire Department, the fire department is fully encrypted with AES 256. So unless you got the key and you have to get it from their chief, you ain't listening to the Montgomery Fire Department no matter what scanner you have. You can hear this. You can't even.
Right. And decrypting that is illegal as hell. So that's the one thing is people constantly are like, hey, how can I decrypt the P25 in my area? I'm like, I don't know.
Yep, there's decode and there's decrypt, and they're two different things.
Right.
Decode is decode a P25 signal, a trunk signal, which is what the SDS scanners, any of the trunking scanners will do. And decrypt is encrypted traffic, and that's a whole different thing.
Any benefits over a handheld versus a base other than portability?
For scanners?
Yeah.
Portability, whatever you want to mess with.
Performance is pretty much the same usually.
Yeah, but the screen's different, and you probably it's probably a little bit better interface. Like I think that you have all of the buttons on the base unit, so it goes back to HT versus full radio, where you don't have to have multiple use buttons or any of that kind of stuff. But I just got the handheld because I like to take it places with me.
Same here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Same here.
All right, crap, y'all gonna make me spend an extra $700.
Yes, we are.
We'll see. A lot of people, we'll talk about it. They're like, well, I can get an RTL SDR for $25, and that's absolutely right. But whatever you set it up to, you have to then make that portable, right? And you have more stuff that can go. Like what I like about the SDS is it's instant on. I can just turn it on and then I'm in business. I don't want to have to worry about my Raspberry Pi firing up and make sure I got connectivity to this and then check my plug. Not that I don't think that that's cool, and I don't think it's part of the Ham Shack experience. It's just that I'd like to. Like if I go somewhere, I want to take my scanner with me so I can hear what's going on.
Yeah, all right, that's cool.
Vern asked a good question. If you buy a used Motorola P25 radio, if you buy any used radio, really, especially if you're going to get into P25, which tends to orient toward public safety, hams can use P25. We don't have P25 phase 2. We have P25 phase 1. Phase 2 is trunking, and hams don't trunk. But you have to be able to get programming software for it, and that can be kind of difficult. But Sideboom, Uber Geek there, Motorola has released a whole bunch of their older software, and by old I mean like Carter was president when some of that stuff was written, I think. Well, maybe just Reagan, I don't know, but yeah, you need to make sure you have programming software if you buy a used radio off of eBay. Just telling you.
Got it.
But yeah, the scanners are great, and the same reason that Ape got his, I wanted one that was mobile. I have a base one here, but I wanted to have P25 in my truck, especially when I was still active in the fire department, so I could keep up with sheriff's office and fire calls and all that crap.
Now you can do P25 RX with the 70D, right?
That's a little complicated. You're not listening to pure P25. You can use the P25 codec and talk basically P25 with a 70D, but you're not talking to P25.
So in California, they made them go unencrypted?
Yeah, it's weird because you'll see, like Tom, you mentioned this, and this is, I'm going to get wrapped up, so just tell me to shut up if I go on too long.
Shut up.
Okay. It's weird across the country. So like I said, Montgomery Fire is 100% encrypted, which is, it's a fire department for crying out loud. You know, it's not like it's a secret. And people will say, the people who don't know will go, well, it's because they use a HIPAA violation, give out medical information. I was in the fire department for 27 years. I don't go, well, Tom has a drippy, you know, and it's because he was with that girl. We don't talk about all that crap on the radio anyway.
BS.
We don't.
So like I heard stuff like we pulled over Big Alabama Jim driving down here. He had a Batman costume, and you know, and they start putting all this stuff.
That's not HIPAA. That's not HIPAA.
He was only wearing the oil and a Batman costume. You know, and like
that's
I
not
hear
HIPAA.
that stuff all the time. They'll give out license
I
plate
didn't
numbers
say they don't talk crap. I just said we don't. Ain't no fire department talks HIPAA stuff over the radio generally. I mean, almost never.
Jim
anyway, Montgomery Fire.
Fashionable East Pentlala.
Fashionable East Pentlala, that's right. Montgomery Fire is 100% encrypted, but then you'll see major city agencies like Chicago that has at least 2 or 3 main dispatch channels completely in the clear. Probably a lot of the TAC channels are encrypted P25 or something, but you know, Montgomery County, when they went P25, they just had P25, and the county sheriffs, county fire departments, all that stuff, they're all unencrypted, but P25 and simulcast for the fire departments, FM and P25.
Huh. Because we get a mix.
It varies all over the country.
But that's a hot button issue around the encryption. A lot of people want it, and a lot of people don't want it.
Right. Because that's how they get you.
Well, what they say is at the end of the day, it's a public safety thing. So if you have some nutcase go in and start shooting up a building or something like that, what you don't want is everybody be like, hell, boys, let's go get him. You know, put down your Budweisers. Let's get in the truck. You know, and
I will not tell you that doesn't happen because it happened here. We had a local Karen housewife of a related to the fire department who had access to P25. Well, actually, she has scanner, and she was Facebook shit posting in real time as the sheriff's office is out doing stuff. Oh, they're out on a manhunt right now on Union Academy Road. We need to make sure and clear the area. I'm parked at the end. I mean, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, they were also saying in some of the cities where the police traffic is sent over analog, like we were saying, like 440 megahertz, somewhere right around there, that the like street gangs and stuff like that were buying Balfangs and they could listen to police activity.
Gangs were interfering with Chicago radio at one point. They were just, you know, keying up transmitter, hot micing for a long time, and it was a big issue. Which is weird that I find that we would make ourselves susceptible to that kind of interference, right? Some dude with a Baofeng on a roof.
Well, in public safety, that's one of the reasons they're moving to P25. And the reason they're not is because of the cost, because a P25 radio is a whole lot more expensive than an FM radio. And the ones that Montgomery was buying, the low end ones were $1,000. The ones that they were handing out were $3,500 a piece.
No kidding. Damn.
Right. So that's why it was a big deal when we got the grant to get them. But the thing is with P25 Phase 2, not only is it trunking, but you have to be put in the system by the system manager to talk on it. So it eliminates anybody being able to interfere. Now, the scanner will still pick it up, but to key on the system, I can buy all the P25 radios I want, but unless the system manager puts my radio in their system, it'll never key up.
Ah, interesting. Well, see, I saw that from Temecula. I used to live by Temecula. I miss that place. So hope everything's going good out in Cali. Stay away from wildfires. Another question I had for y'all. So I've got this Raspberry Pi kit I haven't assembled yet. What are some good amateur radio related projects for Raspberry Pi?
Build a Pi from KM4 ACK.
Yep. There's another one too. Ham Pi.
Yep.
Ham clock.
Yeah. Ham
clock and Ham Pi. Yeah.
Build a Pi sets up all of the ham radio software. So you'll have APRS, you'll have WinLink, you'll have WSJTX, JS8 call, a lot of other ham related software just all preset for you. I mean, you can do it all by yourself, but Jason makes it easy for you.
Yeah, but what's cool is like you can get slow scan television apps. I believe that it's all on the Build a Pi script, and you can connect those up to like your Baofeng all the way up to your 7300, depending upon what you want to. Hey, Larry, what's going on, buddy?
Larry.
It's my understanding that Larry's going to be live streaming POTA activity today.
Cool.
But you can. When the space shuttles and stuff like that are flying around in low Earth orbit, not actually space, what you can do is like sometimes they'll broadcast signals, pictures down, and people will catch them with a Baofeng and then put them into their Pi and have the SSTV app decode it. And,
you said orbit. You know, orbit implies a spherical thing, right?
Well, no, so, because it's called an LEO, and I'm just explaining it so people understand that.
Well, I mean, because, you know, if
they call it a space station and it ain't in space. They call it a space station and it ain't in
circling. You're right. You couldn't order if the orbit.
So it's a low Earth circling.
Maybe it's teeth whitening, Tio. I don't know.
It could be. It could be. I mean,
I got new ones. I'll put them in.
Look at this.
I'll put them in this morning.
Just everybody take a moment. Just take a moment.
Drink it in.
And breathe,
Drink it in.
Breathe all this in. Yeah.
Make sure the women are out of the room. You don't want everybody getting all whipped up.
Hide your women. Hide your women.
Hide your kids. Hide your wives.
That's right.
Any of y'all ever build like a satellite tracker with no Arduino kit or anything like that?
It's on the to-do list.
That was another
thing. That seems difficult.
1 billion miles long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can use your Raspberry Pi with your SDR, and so like one of the things you can do is you can install an SDR server on there, because a lot of people say that the actual decoding that takes place on the Raspberry Pi and then rendering it onto the screen is a lot of overhead, but it isn't really if you have a Raspberry Pi 4. It can be with a Raspberry Pi 3, but you can just set up a server on there. So what a lot of people do is take a Raspberry Pi like this, SDR, antenna it, put it out in the backyard, power it off of a solar panel. So the whole thing sits out there, and then just Wi-Fi it back to different computers in the house. So like on your Windows 10 machine, you can install SDR Sharp, for example, and then just put an IP address of the server that you want to listen to, which would be your Raspberry Pi out in the yard.
You can also make your own hotspot too.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool about the SDR. I didn't know that because I use my Windows 10 machine, SDR Sharp. So you can actually just do it remotely, huh?
Yeah, so a lot of people actually do all attic mount stuff too. So they'll put something like a disc cone up in the attic and just have it going into, I think it's called RTL SDR server. But and then just run the server on there, and then from whatever device they have in their house, they can pick up the frequencies.
All right, y'all getting me motivated. I've had all this shit sitting around for a while. I'm trying to figure out which one to start with. Still don't know, but at least I know more than I started with.
That's the point of the show, man.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Monday night you need to clear your schedule. Tell your wife, listen, baby, I got real man things to do. We're going to be hacking DMR radios.
Yeah. So explain that. When you say hacking, what are you planning on doing without spilling the beans?
Loading a custom OS onto the radio.
What?
That it did not come with, that was not made by the radio manufacturer.
We'll make him better. We'll make him faster than he was before.
Really? Does the
if any of y'all are old enough to get that?
So you're saying the GD77 is what you're doing on?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing it on a Baofeng, an 1801, but yeah.
So there's a bunch of radios that are called GD77 of some flavor or another, and they all have the same chip in them. They all work kind of the same way. They just have different clothing on the outside. And some very enterprising individuals came up with this open GD77 firmware that you can load onto it that's supposed to be a lot better. I don't have one of those radios, but Jim has a couple of them, and he's going to walk us through on Monday installing and playing and seeing what the betters are of it.
Sweet. Any prep work, Jim, that I should be doing to this thing beforehand to get ready? I think.
Well, if you're going to play along, I will send you the instructions in the Discord. You'll just need to download the OpenGD77 and the firmware for your particular radio.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So what's the advantages of this different OS?
Better.
Just better?
Well, programming is
magnitude.
It's difficult to program a stock GD77 from the interface. When you put the software on there, then you can. So one of the things that you want to be able to do is add and remove talk groups or contacts on the fly. So like if we meet up at the park, I can be like, oh, just enter my contact information in. And you can just do that from the interface with the new software. With the old software, you got to be like, hold on, bro, run and get your Windows 10 laptop. Fortunately, everybody's buying these Evolve 3s. And then fire that up and then write a code, edit your code plug and sync it back down and all that.
Oh, cool.
Is that the top again?
This is the laptop. Now, this is the V3 laptop sans LTE card, which I could care less about anyway, but
that's the most important feature.
Right. The sticker, I think the
covers
sticker,
up the Apple logo.
The sticker kind of ties everything together.
It really does bring the laptop together.
Right. I'm just saying. So yeah, the firmware, the GD77 firmware is it is not peer reviewed, Don. You're right. Thank you, Don.
I said that about his device driver yesterday.
I remember that. That was great. But it adds a lot of functionality and makes the radio a whole lot more useful. A lot of functionality.
Cool.
You'll love it, especially if you've never used the current software.
I have not. So
it is. I snorted. It's horrible.
Are you all right over there, son? It must be the ivermectin kicking in. Right? Like,
I just had my shot this morning. The vet was here right before the show.
Get your dose.
Now, Rafael Pinto, before you buy this, I want to make clear, and I did a video on this the other day. There's an 1801 signal purity video on my channel. The 1801/GD77/ what is the other one? RT5R, something like that? Do you remember? There's 3 or 4 of
the
them.
RD5R.
RD5R. Yeah. They're not high-end radios, okay? Just saying.
Well, see, like when DMR was becoming popular, you had a lot of the gatekeeping that happens in ham radio, and people were like, I don't like the sound of this DMR. It just doesn't sound right.
Mic settings.
And that's because it's mic settings, but it's also, you're talking about $50 Chinese radios compared to what you're hearing on a $300-400 ICOM radio or $200 Yaesu. Of course, it's going to be a sound difference on there. So like you had, because it's a more of an open standard, you had a very mixed collection of radios talking on DMR, and everybody would sound different. If everybody was using the same Yaesu radio, they would all sound the same, right? And so that's one of the problems. That's what I love about the cross mode repeat that you can now get in the D-Star with a GD77. And now it doesn't. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Don.
Any of all use Apple products? I'm looking for SDR software on Apple. So I to context, I just got into the Apple ecosystem. Longtime Apple hater, just because I don't like their anti-consumer practices. But I can't lie, their hardware is freaking great for like content creation.
Until they ditch you.
Yeah,
I'm an Apple person.
Me too.
I am
right,
liking
Tom.
it.
I love Apple, but
yeah. But anyway, so I don't want to get too crazy on that stuff. I still have all my Windows stuff. I've been building Windows PCs for a year. All my SDR stuff is on PC. I cannot find something that doesn't cost an arm and a leg for Apple equivalent, like an SDR Sharp or whatnot. You got any recommendations?
Yeah,
GQRX.
So you know of Homebrew, right, Tom?
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, so go to brew.sh and install that bad boy. It's going to make your life a lot easier.
Brew.sh?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
what is this that I'm looking at then?
It's a package repository. It's kind of like a apt repository or a yum repository is for Linux. It's the same thing for macOS. I'm sharing it on my screen right now. I just did brew search SDR, and Cubic SDR comes up as a thing. So I've used Cubic SDR before.
That's what open source. Cubic.
Yeah, it is. But getting Cubic working on a Mac is a pain.
So you just do brew install, and you spell install right. Cubic SDR. And that's your first step. And I've already got it installed. Let's see if it actually runs. I haven't used it for like 2 years.
I bet it doesn't run then. Have you upgraded the OS on that thing anytime recently?
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Interesting. And this is decent software
For free?
It is what it is, man.
Take a look at GQRX.
GQRX.
I haven't heard of that one. Is that a Mac one, Abe?
It's a multi-platform. They have it for Mac.
Okay.
It's so the it's what I would always use for the RTL SDR dongle. So I used to use the RTL SDR dongles way before I was a ham with a Mac. And then actually had the first ones I had didn't have like the TXO. They were the European TV SDRs. And we would just use GQRX with them.
And they'll work with the RTL?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I've got RTL and like the Nest DR something or other that I've been meaning to test with HF.
Yes,
RTL
I don't have
actually
an
works pretty
SDR
good.
plugged in, but it'll work with anything that follows the SOAPy SDR protocol also.
Right.
Well, see, that's where
cool.
it gets tough with some of these is getting the drivers for the actual physical, getting the software installed and the software running
You're right.
isn't the hard part. It's getting the hardware recognized and the drivers correct and fed in there. With the RTL SDR and GQRX, it's simple. GQRX supports it natively.
Steve,
Nice.
are you going to pull up GQRX?
Don mentioned SDR console, so I'm in the middle of that one right now.
Okay.
Let's do.
SDR.
You know, Steve, I
plus.
think maybe he manscaped a little before the show, too. I don't know.
Yeah, SDR
Could
plus
be.
plus is a newer
It
one
could
that's out
be.
as well.
Maybe a
I
new
think he tweaked his
clarifier.
eyebrows. Something.
Plucked.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that right eyebrow is a little. I don't think he finished though. I think the left eyebrow is a
Oh
little,
my God.
little bushy.
Listen.
That's just a
what
hat
were you
shadow.
just- Right. We were just talking about you for some. What were we saying? Get back to your medicine.
Are you being modest?
I think he is. I think he's a little embarrassed that we've noticed he's done something. Maybe he just got happy had a happy ending last night.
No, he hasn't done anything. I'm
No
just sitting
happy
here.
ending,
The,
I'm
the
sorry.
lighting may be slightly different in the basement, but I didn't do anything purposefully.
What is this, Tio,
so.
that you're looking at?
This is SDR console, which is one that Don mentioned, and then we'll look at GQRX.
Okay.
We used SDR console when we did our SDR show.
Yeah, and I've used GQRX before too.
All right, I haven't heard of that one. Cool.
That's the one.
This is a better looking website than the other one. Yeah, I
And
think this
I
is
would-
the one that you and I used, Abe.
And I think I would like that better if I don't have to fool with Brew. I'm not a huge Brew fan.
That's because you're not a real Mac
Well,
user.
I have a video
No,
where
'cause
I
it's an
did
extra
it on a
layer of
Raspberry
obfuscation.
Pi. I used I installed the RTL SDR on the Raspberry Pi, and I used GQRX to do it.
Okay, cool. I will give that a shot.
Maybe you wash the hat. I don't know.
That hat-
No.
that
I
hasn't
got
been
a
washed
little
forever.
concerned. I couldn't find the hat earlier.
Oh man, the last time he lost that hat, I didn't hear about it didn't stop hearing about it for days.
So I thought I was gonna have to go with the do rag. I couldn't find the.
I thought you were pulling up your happy sock or something there for a second.
No. This is
It's like, what is that?
Well, he said he
Do-rag.
didn't have a happy ending last night, so maybe I can get the happy sock. I don't know.
Man, I can smell that from here. Oh,
What else you got down
Lon's
there?
got it right. Maybe
Oh
he
my
started to
gosh.
use some of that gray away stuff. Yeah,
That could actually be.
could be it.
Yeah.
clean
that could be
shirt.
it.
He's
I
picking
mean,
up
I
on what
just
we're putting
embrace
down.
the gray. I don't care. I'm not, vain.
He ain't trying to impress anybody, let alone
That's
this
right. I
very-
don't care, man. She knows what I look like, and she seen me in the morning before coffee. So,
So, Ape, you shared with me a site for shortwave stuff. Since I gotcha, I started going through it and looking things up. There's not a whole lot broadcasting towards the U.S. it seems anymore.
Right. There's less. You got those guys in Florida who are the fire and brimstone. And old Mac is no better than a $50 one. But, I guess Don
shut
tuned
up,
in on that.
Don. You shut up, Don. Big dummy head.
Just trying to
No,
get started.
there's really not. In the shortwave stations in the United States are becoming less and less, and most of what they do now. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. What my impression is that people like us, like we could reach out to a shortwave station and say, "Hey, we want to broadcast coffee and radios on your shortwave station. Pay a couple $100, and then they would,
Oh, nice.
they would do that for us.
Open
Imagine
anyone,
Coffee and
huh?
Ham Radios on 5085
That'd be awesome.
right before Ted Randall.
Yeah, I couldn't find a whole lot of stuff going on, so I really wanted to get into it. I'm still tuning around. The site you sent was super helpful, but yeah, seemed all.
Yeah,
the
what's nice about that site is you can sort like based off of English because you've probably picked up a bunch of like a lot of times you pick up a lot of Spanish speaking stations from
Yep.
Central and South America.
I picked
right
up
on
some
40 meters.
Japanese and French. Because,
Yeah.
one thing that's cool about it is, so you guys know I'm a vet. When we were in Iraq, we knew we had more news coming through. One of the dudes had a shortwave radio through like BBC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were given intel like in person. So we were finding out more about what the hell was going on through shortwave.
That's scary.
Which was cool, but yeah, scary. And getting into it now, I was hoping to kind of get similar international intel, but not so much.
Radio Havana is one that it gets retransmitted on a bunch of them, and also you get BBC China, BBC UK, BBC Australia, other ones that I've picked up before.
Okay, I haven't tossed out a long wire yet. I've just been using the little whip that comes with it, which is surprisingly good. But we'll see what comes.
Well, what you can do is with that whip, at the end of that, you can just alligator clip another long wire right onto the whip, and
that's what I did with the SDR
with the screws. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Just like I had a 18 gauge wire that I just threw out, freaking attached it to the roof, alligator clipped it to the little extended doodad on the RTL, and big difference.
Don't forget the counterpoise.
Now Raphael says he gets a lot. Now Raphael is in Brazil, so he gets a lot of Chinese radio down there and BBC.
Really?
I'd noticed that I get a lot of South American stuff. And by South America, it could be Mexico. I don't understand accents enough to know, or speak Spanish. So, but I get a lot of that, and I mean, there's some South American Hispanic stations that just blow the doors off on 40 meters.
Okay.
Here in
yeah, like
Alabama.
I'll pick up some South American stations on 40. It's different times of day.
Is there, because I was out in the freaking backyard, kind of like what you were describing, scotch and a cigar, listening, and at night, probably around 10, 11 p.m. And that's when I heard more stuff, but still couldn't find anything too interesting. A lot of freaking, like I think I said on Instagram, right? It's kind of a bit of a cesspool locally, but international stuff was interesting.
Yeah, some of the stuff is a little strange that you hear on there. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Plasma.
Strange.
I don't know where it's coming from. It could very well be from Miami. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you get some of them fire and brimstone preachers on there. I was like, man, he just listed off like 35 different ways I'm going to go to hell.
Right.
Right.
And
Man,
I
that
know
was
a
a total
36th way that he did not mention.
Right. That's a short list compared to what I've done. But shit. It's like, it's kind of hard to enjoy your evening on sitting out in the patio when you're just getting told you're going to hell in 80 different ways.
Right. I'm like, I didn't know I needed to repent so many times.
It's like, all right, let me find some.
Can I pay you guys some money so I can get the repenting done and we can move
paperwork.
on?
Just
That's
paperwork.
Right. I picked the wrong religion. I was a Baptist, man. I need to be a Catholic because they just go, boom, boom, and you're out. Baptists, we hold on to that guilt forever.
The that radio that has really good selectivity for pulling signals out. Like you can really lock on. It's sensitive, but it's also selective, where it doesn't have any drifting problems or anything like that. I love it. I think it sounds great, and I use it for, like I said earlier, AM and FM, not just shortwave.
Yeah, this thing's cool. I think it was on maybe one of your all's channels. Or I was just looking for a shortwave, how to get into it, and this PL880 was highly recommended. Amazon had all the great reviews, and I gotta say, I love it. It's very Cold War era ish, and its build quality and look, which is really cool.
Well, it looks like your grandpa's radio, right? I mean,
it does. Even with the little wrist strap and stuff, it's pretty cool.
Well, I had one of those, and I went camping with my buddies, and what I would always do when we go camping, the last thing I would pack up is the radio because it would sit on the table playing music and all that stuff. So once we got to the, at end of the trip, we were packing everything up, and when I got home, I packed my Jeep, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I can't find my radio anywhere, and I'm like, oh no, man, I listen to this thing all the time. What am I going to do? And I'm like, it'll turn up, and I waited months, and I could not find the 880, so I ended up ordering another one, and the other one shows up in the mail, gets here, and I get it all set up. I'm listening to it. And we have a guest room up that had like a small couch in it. It's also where I store all my stuff. And my wife wanted me to move it. So I went up there to move it, and I pulled the couch out, and the other radio had fallen behind the couch. And
Oh, no. Well, now you have two.
Yep, got two of them. So
Need a tag thing. This is another thing that I picked up recently as I'm getting into Applebee's.
No.
AirTags.
No.
These are
I don't know much about them other than the media says they're bad.
Yeah, people are getting all creeped out about these things, like some freaking wackadoo dropping them in a pocket of some lady walking down the street or something.
Oh, there's a YouTube I watched, a couple of them from this one guy, and he he put them in some packages he shipped, and he was using them internationally to track his package through DHL, and he had one that was sitting in Rhine-Main Airport for months that they couldn't find because they will.
I know where it is.
They will glom on to every device within that's at the certain OS level, right? So it's the ultimate mesh because you have 100 million iClones of us marching to the tune of the Apple, and our phones are sharing the location of those AirTags. So yeah, if you want to stalk somebody, that's the way to do it right there.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to.
And it's not stalking if you really love her, but I'm just saying.
I haven't tried it yet.
Raphael said that he sent it to North Korea.
That's the same guy. Yes, he did. That's right. Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
Yep. I think, Raphael, do you remember, did it cross the border? Did it make it into North Korea? I know he sent it there. I don't know if it made it.
Are there a lot of Apple devices in North Korea?
Probably just 1 or 5. I
So
don't know.
got to be within range of that one, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how it works. You have to be within range of an Apple device.
Yeah, it obviously it'll know where your phone is, when they're together. But yeah, if it drove off with your wife, it would tell your wife's phone, where it is, or anybody nearby.
I wonder how good the coverage actually is. Are there that many Apple devices out there where you can get
go look up that YouTube later, and it's amazing.
Because this is a pretty inconspicuous little doodad.
That is FBI level tracking for the unwashed.
Yeah, my buddy put one on the bottom of his picnic table because he thought his picnic table was going to get stolen.
What?
And
who steals picnic tables?
Is that a thing?
Depends on where you live.
In the bad part of Nebraska?
It's a bad neighborhood.
But he was like, I got one on my picnic table. But I don't necessarily understand how they work. I guess.
Well, I mean, you've seen the cost of lumber lately.
Right. I guess they have a beacon on them, and then you can just use any iPhone that is set up as a public gateway. That beacon will register with that iPhone and then broadcast on the network somewhere.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen these things? You're an Apple guy, Ape. Do you own any of these things?
I don't.
Ape does not believe in tracking.
Right. That's how they get you. If you can track that, somebody else can too. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I have location services on my phone. Go big screen again. Always turned off because I know that's how they get you. And I must have turned it on to get some weather stuff the other day because I drove somewhere when I got home. I get a pop up saying Google Maps has updated your parking spot. I'm like son of a. And then I got mad. I was like, how can they do that? My location services is off. But then when I looked, I accidentally left it on.
So let me pivot a little bit and I'll take off the tinfoil hat for a second here. Speaking of location services, one thing I do really like about Yaesus that I've started picking up on is like group monitor and stuff like that, where you can, talk in simplex, get the whole telemetry, location, so forth. Do DMR radios have something similar? To like
your Handheld's got GPS in it.
It's got GPS, but it doesn't have, and they'll have APRS, but they don't have that GM feature that Yaesu has.
But you can text message stuff back and
DMR.
Forth to each other, right? And so like that one that you just reviewed, I had one. I don't have any more. It was a Retevis RT52, I believe. That one can share GPS information with other RT52s, not other DMR radios, but with the RT52s.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't get that cool.
Yeah,
it's not like
a
the Yaesu.
unified feature set like the Yaesu.
Okay,
that's correct.
Because that's pretty handy.
You and Michael did the GM thing, didn't you? Is that how you two found each other?
Yeah. So I mean, he lives close. We were going to an overlanding event locally, and we were just on digital simplex. We hit up group monitor, and then he calls out the call, and you can see when he's in range. I'm like, oh yeah, I see you, dude. You're like 3 miles southeast of me. Like that little map thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially if
that's how they get you.
That's right. That's right.
Today, the part of Chuck KK6USY will be played by Don and 5SKT. We apologize for any inconvenience this has caused the audience viewers at home.
And the difference between the two is that Don has, hair. So
yeah, we'll just leave it at that. He doesn't have ape hair.
They both have the same opinions, or they have strong opinions. That's the word I wanted to use.
Who, Don and Chuck?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but I just say stuff that's just not even true to Chuck to get him worked up over Yaesu stuff. He'll be talking about a Yaesu radio, and I'm like, I heard they have intermod problems. Do not. That was one isolated case. Or the others, I heard the screen. The screen gets real dim. that was that one case.
On it.
Right. I wonder if Chuck has much luck with amateur radio when he's doing overlanding stuff, because I can't hit squat. I'm driving cross country and I'll have repeater book open, and I'll be tuning into every repeater as I go. Call out, very few responses. I'll get more.
When you call out, how do you call out?
Well, I'll just be like, N9JDI monitoring.
That's why.
Is
So
that
you
right?
have to say something. You have to say something that like
inflammatory,
clickbait or catchy. It's
Inflammatory?
like, hey, is this fancy new Yaesu FT5D getting the signal out? And you'll get like 90 people back. Oh, you're beautiful, strong, full quieting here into the repeater. And if you do the same thing and say Baofeng UV5R, like.
You're breaking up.
No response. Yes, if you just say.
But when you do it, you're getting
nobody wants to
you're
talk
getting
to
a
you.
Roger tone back, right? Like you're
I'm
cracking the
listening
squat.
for that. Mm-hmm. And doing whenever I do find a fusion repeater, I found that just doesn't work very well, because I'll try to tune in back home, and I might get them for about 7 minutes before I pass the freaking thing. So, but no, because one thing I started doing was I was on the trail in Moab back in May. And I started using the white chalk paint, because I'll use mostly GMRS when I'm on the trails. And I'll put the channel that I'm on. And it actually served me well. I thought it was interesting, because we were coming up on this shelf road, blind shelf road, that was going to be winding for a while. And some Jeep came by. And my buddy and I were like, do we go? Because once you're on a shelf road, right, you have two options: either back the hell up, which is kind
go
of
down,
or keep going down. Anyway, long story longer, turns out that the Jeep that passed me noticed that we were on channel 18. And so I hear out of nowhere, white Lexus, can you hear me? I'm like, oh yeah, gotcha. He's like, hey, FYI, we got 2 other vehicles coming up the road. So super handy, saved my ass, because we were about to go down the trail. Actually, I have a picture of what that looks like. But I was just curious if anyone's done something like that on, on amateur radio, where you just let people know what frequency you're on or whatnot. So I don't know if you can see this. I've got
channel 18. Yep.
Yeah, channel 18. And then on the back, same thing.
That's awesome.
That's a great plan. Yeah.
So it's certainly well.
But that's a GMRS channel 18 or?
Yeah, because there's hardly any amateur operators out that I've listened to.
Sorry about that, folks.
Hi, everybody. But that's what
does look a lot different today.
There's nothing. I'm telling you, nothing different.
Did you exfoliate?
Did you change out acne medication? Maybe.
No. I am planning to switch from Ivory to Coast. So right, Coast is a scent that opens your eyes. So
more oil in that soap. Is that why you got that glow?
No, I haven't. I'm still finishing the bar of Ivory, but I got it because it was on sale. So,
Raphael, take care, brother.
You need some Irish Spring. That's what you need.
That's what
you got to get that Old Spice body wash, right?
Right, that's the spray,
that stuff, man.
Old Spice spray.
Ladies, look at your ham. Now back to me. Now back to your ham. Now back to me.
Don's right. Irish Spring.
Irish Spring is what I use. Yeah.
Stuff. But I'm going to try the Coast. I haven't used Coast in a while. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Wow, that was kind of an awkward silence.
Man, StreamYard needs to have like hotkeys.
For what?
To be able to like hit 1 and have it solo me, and 2 and solo Tom.
It does. It's shift 1 through 7, I think.
Oh, hey.
If
Nice.
you had one of these
It is.
things that Thump was pushing, I still have to finish putting mine together. But this is
that's stupid.
you can make a
It doesn't
touch
do what I want it
screen.
to do.
You can make a touch screen. What is it? Hotkey presser. So I can just use this to hit my hotkeys.
Well, there's a copyrighted word. A stream function
Stream Deck
thing. I wasn't going to say it.
You can say it because we aren't, violating the copyright by talking about.
Well, he's
the
all
Stream
worried
Deck
about the
product.
music earlier, and I'm like, man,
Well, the music's how they get you. They'll come back on you.
Stream Deck,
Hayden's gotten it a few times where they've copyright striked him.
Hayden is. You just look at Hayden, and I mean he's Australian, so right there, they're all criminals down there. That's how come they're there, right?
I see Lon's asking if I had any hard time finding gaps for antenna mounts on the Lexus. Yeah. So I've got a hard mount that goes into the latch in the rear by the swing out hatch. Could not find a good place to run the coax through, so I ended up drilling a hole and doing a grommet, just doing a quick drip loop and then sending it through a wall, and then it runs behind the back panels in the quarter.
I like those lip mount things like Diamond. I think it's the K400 is the one that I have.
Yep.
And I have that on my
couple of
Jeep.
those.
And it's been fantastic. Before that, I bought a Nagoya lip mount, and the thing rusted out in about 2 years. It was fine. I mean, it was cheap. It was like $35. The Diamond's expensive. I think it's like $150 if I remember correctly.
But it lasts. I've had one on my Subaru for
5,
2
6
years.
years. Yeah, I've had mine 5 or 6 years, and it still looks brand new.
The finish still works. Yeah, it looks great. It hasn't faded very well because my shit ain't even in the garage, so it goes through winters and everything. It's lasted a while.
Now you used to have a 4Runner or something, right? I noticed you. Subaru. I don't know. It's something I don't drive.
Yeah, I still have it. No, so I had a 2019 Crosstrek, and
okay, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious to see what you can do with that one. It's fun. It's taken me to a lot of different places, but you just there's no substitute for just true 4-wheel drive and a low gear, and so that's why I ended up getting the Lexus. It was
the Lexus looks like it's got bigger tires and more lift on it than your Subaru.
Oh yeah, I found that thing stock. It's a 3-inch lift, and I got 33s on it right now. Anything bigger, you start to rub. I already did chopped body mounts for it. Have I ever used a Hamstick? Yes. Actually, I've got one of the things that I use predominantly is a Hamstick dipole for 20 and 40 meters when I'm out.
Sounds like
excellent.
Yeah, it works great. Easy to tune, and I got this cheap ass Amazon tailgating flagpole that you roll your tire up onto the base, and so you just put that in there, extend the flagpole, a quick clamp for the Hamstick dipole adapter. It's awesome. I was in Colorado or Utah, hitting each side of the coasts.
That's great.
So.
Abe, did you have a deadline you had to?
We're getting close. We're getting close to it. I got some stuff I got to run around and do today. But
Cape Cod CNC wants to know if your Land Cruiser is triple locked.
I don't even know what that means.
No. It's
front,
just got
center and rear.
Yeah, so you got the center diff lock that comes with it, and then you can get front and rear lockers. I do have a dual ARB compressor on board, which is fantastic. Nice. It's tough, man. So I know this ain't a car show, but since it was asked, just like amateur radio, you think of one thing and it becomes a freaking rabbit hole. So should I do an air locker in the rear? Yeah, okay, maybe. But if I'm going to do that, why not upgrade the rear end? Okay, but if I'm going to do that, why not regear and do larger tires? Right? So
a lot
trying
like
to prioritize.
Radio.
Yeah. That mentality is a dangerous one to have because you just kind of get stuck in this pernicious mental loop as far as what to do.
Pernicious. That's a good word. I like that.
Thank you. Word of the day.
So Plasma said that Hayden just passed 20,000 subscribers on his Ham Radio DX YouTube channel. Yep. And that, number one, is awesome. Number two, the subscribe feature on YouTube is absolutely free. It's not like subscribing to a magazine. It's just click the button, tell the world that Ham Radio is awesome. So the more Ham Radio YouTube channels you subscribe to, the more Ham Radio will be out there.
Yes.
Well, I was talking to Hayden last night. I saw he flipped 2,000. I shot him a message. When he did 1,000, he had a live stream. So he next weekend he is live streaming a 24-hour contesting stream. I think he's nuts for doing that, by the way. And then the following weekend will be his 20,000 subscriber live stream, which should be fun.
I don't need to see Hayden do. In 24 hours, I'm sure he's going to do a couple of those things.
Crikey. We've been streaming.
That's going to be some epic multitasking to live stream and contest
for 24 hours straight.
I mean,
he does it all the time.
He's going to keep the stream going for 24 hours. I mean, I hope he steps away
to do business, like go to the potty and stuff, right? But
yeah,
I wasn't going to say that. I was being euphemistic about it, but yeah, right.
Euphemistic. Step away.
Right, but I don't use the cream you use on, so I don't know.
I think
he plucked this morning. He plucked this morning.
I didn't do anything.
He did something.
I had a bagel.
Lighting. Is it sunny out or is it rainy out in Nebraska? Does it rain in Nebraska?
It does sometimes. We have up and down rain, sideways rain. We have all the rain.
There's about 1 million different kinds of rain.
I saw someone says they have 14652 stickers. Does anyone ever reach out to you that way?
I keep it on mine all the time. No, I've never talked to anyone on it ever, and I've called on it multiple times. Huntsville is coming up in a couple weeks, and I plan to have the radio on 14652 and just go down the interstate.
Well, I used to do a lot of my videos. I would use I'd use 5.2, 14652 just to call out and just show, hey, the radio's working.
Yeah,
and
I do the same thing.
And some dude came on and sass mouthed me about it. Like,
What?
Yeah, he was like, "What are you doing? Jamming up the signal?" All that stuff. And
Really?
Sorry.
Really, Boomer?
Right, but other than that, I think one other time I had somebody call out to me. I call on 5.2 all the time. One time I was at a park and I did it, and some guy came back to me and he's like, "Hey, you sound great," but almost always nothing. And then I had an accident with the electric shaver.
Oil of no way.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that guy, he said sass mouth. So now I don't do 5.2 anymore when I test the radio.
Actually, Nebraska, I'll consistently get calls through Nebraska when I'm driving through it because I have APRS on my 400, and I'm pinging that I'm available on 535. And every time I go through Nebraska, someone will call out, say, "Hey, so you're what's up?" And I'll have a short conversation, usually through west of Omaha.
Well, like in California, they have a really big, and I believe Florida's the same way, repeater networks down there where people will constantly be monitoring, listening, and talking on those. And then there's other places where they don't want you to, they don't even want you to use the repeater. Like, what if there's an emergency and somebody needs the repeater? Don't use it.
Then you break in.
Right.
Huh. Seriously?
Tom, so
you were talking about
on the repeater.
You're talking about on your FTM 400, right? You did
Yeah,
that. You set up the thing where it does the
in my beacon, right? It'll have the message, and I'm just saying, listening on 535, and
that's a great plan. I hadn't even thought about that.
I
played with it once here, and I turned it off because it irritated me, and that was it. So,
what irritated you? Just
it kept flashing crap on the radio while I was driving.
Oh, you can turn that off.
I would have had to read the manual, and that was way more effort than I was.
You should not
Right,
have
it's
to
easier
read a
to
manual with
bellyache.
the ham radio.
Right? It is easier to
bellyache about
complain.
it.
That's right. That's right. But that's actually, I need to figure that out because that's a great plan. Because I know you can set it and put words in there like QSY to 14652 or whatever.
Yeah, because it'll give you your location, distance, and so forth, and if you're listening on a frequency. So nothing in Illinois, but Nebraska and Wisconsin. Usually, more often than not, someone will hit me up.
I get a lot of APRS in my area, which is kind of shocking.
Really?
I don't have any repeaters I can contact, but I get APRS.
I wonder how much of those APS users are legitimate hams, though, because like you can see a lot of traffic. Like if you go to the website APRSFI, you see it all over the place.
What do you think?
That just call sign?
I think that maybe somebody set it up, and they're beaconing out to keep track of their stuff or whatever. Like, say I got Earl's Towing, right? I put an APRS beacon on my tow truck. No, that kind of stuff.
Coverage ain't that great though. It depends on where you are. You look at FI. Like there's some dead zones near me, and on my channel, someone was saying, why are you bothering with the Garmin InReach Explorer when I'm out? Why not just use APRS? And that was my response. I wanted to do that first, but there's jack for coverage out in the middle of nowhere, freaking Utah.
You get the insurance policy with the Garmin InReach too, right? Do you have that?
I subscribe to it. I don't think I bought the insurance. I just wanted to use it for the emergency part. One, I use it to beacon every 10 minutes or whatever, so my wife knows where the hell, because I usually go out solo. And then it'll clip that and my FT5. I clip onto me when I go for hikes. That way I can hit up emergency service. Yeah, well, they have, if you have to invoke the emergency call on at least they used to when it was InReach. Maybe when it got sold to Garmin, it changed, but you could get like $150,000 worth of rescue insurance. So like if your car got stuck and you need to get it towed out, or if you like fell down a ravine and they had to copter you out or something like that, it would be covered. Yeah, I wonder how much you're on the hook for. Sorry, Jim, what's up? Oh, no, go ahead. No, I've Garmin's done a couple webinars where they talk about what happens if you push that emergency button. And that's one question they never really commit to answering. Like, how much financially are you on the hook for if you have to trigger that service? And it depends. So I guess it would depend on the jurisdiction too, right?
The amount of apparatus they need to bring to you.
Yeah, how much gear has to roll or fly to get to you.
But you have no control over that. They could have a helicopter and decide to use that day. I didn't ask. Yeah, right.
Well, we have air evac services here. That's not the name of the company, but it'll work. And that little helicopter ride.
It's expensive.
For the helicopter to take off, land here, and tote you to Montgomery, which is, as the crow flies, 15 miles, is about a $9,000 ride. And most of the time, if we called the chopper for somebody, they were not stopping in Montgomery. They were going to UAB in Birmingham. And that's about a $22,000 ride.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that like insurance companies
expensive.
will say that we only cover X amount of dollars on that because we believe that this is what it should cost. And it's like, you can't put out the bid. It's not like eBay or something like that. Be like, hey, I need an emergency helicopter ride to Montgomery, Alabama. Who wants to bid?
And what a lot of the helicopter, at least the life flight air evac companies do, is they sell subscriptions. They sell insurance kind of thing, which wouldn't cover your rescue from some mountain in Utah because you were a doofus, but right. So like you can pay $50 or $100 for your family per year, and if they have to fly you, you don't have to pay. So I mean, it could potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars. And understand, we didn't call the helicopter because Nana stubbed her toe. We called the helicopter because you're missing half your leg and your barbed wires wrapped around your arm. Right. Yeah. So
I think someone was asking about group monitor, GM, Ghostman. You can talk while it's active as a question. The answer, if I'm reading that right, the answer is yeah. I mean, basically group monitor, you're sharing the same frequency. You invoke the group monitor feature, and it'll pick up the DGIDs of the other radios on that feature that have group monitor active. It'll give them their telemetry data, as well as you can just use, you can do voice. So anyone else use Yaesu? Because I'm brand new to it, and I've just been playing with it by practicing, and I like it a lot.
I have a 70. Well, I have a bunch of Yaesu radios. I have the 60, the 70, and then
it depends, Lionel.
XV3, but I mostly just use it for analog UHF and VHF. We do have a Yaesu System Fusion repeater here that is always on American Link, and so I'll use it sometimes to listen to that. But I don't go into all the group monitor and all that kind of stuff.
I haven't fooled with group monitor a lot. I've had it on before, and there is stuff here. I mean, that's the only reason. Yeah.
Well, boys, I'm going to have to get out of here. I don't know if we're going to wrap this up at
well, no, you can go.
Half past, but
bye.
I'll see you. I'll see you guys later.
Sorry, I forgot you were there. You may go now.
Oh yeah,
thanks, Doc.
Thanks for everybody in the chat.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Abe.
Good catching up with you, Tom. Take care.
Yeah,
guys.
likewise. Thank you. Center screen, nice.
Oh, that was
awesome.
That was excellent.
Very cool. Damn, it's already an hour and a half. Time flies.
And you guys, thank you for participating. Those of you who participated, you know who you are. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Big shout out to Lon and Plasma. Sorry, Lawn. I got to say it with the New York accent.
Right, Lawn.
Yeah, and then thanks for. Huh?
I was going to say, any last minute words?
No, I was just going to say thanks for digging deep into the bench for the third tier hitters to let me join the show today. But
the D list. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, listen. I mean,
you know,
there's Tom. This whole thing. T.O. has said this. I've said this. Ape said this. There's so much to this hobby that you ain't gonna. Anybody who acts like they know everything is an idiot because he's missing probably 80% of it. Right?
Don't know what you don't know.
The OMs on QRZ, no digital radio ain't no hams. But that guy also probably still run Windows 98 so he can play solitaire. So whatever. But
oh yeah, no, I've got crap on my channel. It's like if it don't have tubes, it ain't ham radio.
Yeah,
right.
That guy.
All right,
that
dude.
Guy. I have tubes. I'm okay.
Right. So I've spent a lot of time with the digital stuff. Steve is a big Pi guy as well. Steve has got a whole lot more time messing with a whole bunch of different radios than I have.
I was gonna say, where are you going with this? Yeah, I like to take stuff apart.
I was trying to think of something nice to say about you.
I appreciate that. It's hard to again digging deep.
I just dig the practicality of it. I just wish I knew more people that were into it, which is why I'm still in the GMRS world, because there's so much useful things you can do. Like I said, the group monitoring, setting up crossband repeat. I've done when I was out for a hike. I'll have my Subaru parked at the top of a hill, right, in case I need to get out to a local repeater. I'm just with an HT walking around. So
now that's a use for it when you're crossbanding. You can use your radio in your truck for your crossband repeater.
Yeah, super handy, right? The first one I had was that Kenwood TM V71 or something like that, and now it's a Yaesu. But yeah, so for folks that just think that ham radios for people dwelling in basements and nerds, I would argue that it's extremely practical. I don't think there's any of those folks here, but that's why I'm into it.
It's fun. I'm a techie. That's all I've done my entire life. I've been in IT literally since high school. And I just love gadgets and technology, and ham radio is great because there's so much technology involved in it.
Oh yeah.
From digital modes to HF tinkering with antennas, like Ape will mess with a toroid at the drop of a dime, and go on about capacitance and reactance, and I'm like, oh, son, you're losing me.
Well, I've done that. I've built his impedance matcher for end-fed half wave. It's got it in my box over there with the toroid wrapped it up. Works good. Nice. It was interesting to tune because I don't know about y'all, but like I try to read about that stuff, the impedance, capacitance, and so forth. And a lot of that stuff, I'm visual. I don't quite grasp it. But then I'll build one, and then I'll try testing it. Right, try to match impedance, put a certain resistor and bridge it, and take it to the DV, my voltmeter. Like, oh, okay, this starts to make sense because I'm swapping out different resistors. I'll throw up a wire and start changing the length. Use the antenna analyzer. Like all that shit makes it real for me. And so anyone who's into it, right? I'm a big guy. I'm a big measuring guy.
Kind of a dig at Jim too. So thanks for that.
Hollywood, thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Mm-hmm.
But no, I think T.O., Ape, Dude, right? Jim, a lot of you guys' stuff where you're measuring stuff. That's how I got into it, to be honest. Because like you're doing something, you're measuring it, you change something, you see the difference. And so anyway, I'll get off that horse. But thank you. You segued again wonderfully. That's why I like the test gear so much, oscilloscopes and spectrum analyzers, because I can see what's happening as I tinker with this capacitor, as I change out this resistance value. Here's what this filter, I was going to set up a video with my cheap Chinese scope later. Here's what this filter envelope looks like on a $100 oscilloscope I got off of Banggood, right? That kind of stuff. And it's fascinating to me. I want to learn how to use an oscilloscope. It intimidates me. Seems like it'd be a cool thing to learn.
Well,
what do you got, Jim?
I got about 6 or 8 videos on oscilloscopes.
All right.
Jim, especially, do you have a scope yet, Tom?
I don't. I've got.
Well, Jim has a deal for you.
Is that right?
I have a surplus one that I don't really need that I would be glad to sell you.
All right, we'll be in touch. Let me go check out your videos on that and see what.
Yeah, you won't even have to sell one of those 19 cameras you have set up. By the way, I'm kind of jealous of that whole setup. That's pretty impressive. The level of nerddom I'm seeing there is like, this guy's cool. he's a pro. He's not just a wannabe nerd. He might be a dilettante at ham radio, but he's a professional nerd. I can see that.
A professional nerd wannabe pro. I have gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But no, that's a whole different topic. I love photography and videography, so that's where all this stuff comes in.
So, Tom, we'll have to have you come back onto Coffee and Ham Radios, and if you would like to join us Monday night for Ham Nuggets, where we do the GD77 install and demo, you are welcome to join us there as well, either behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, next to the scenes.
I will probably be following quietly behind, swearing up and down as I try to follow Jim.
Oh, come on. Jump on the stream with us. Listen, me and Steve, 2.5 hours of
D-Star
farting through D-Star, and
come to find out it was the other side's problem, and we were just awesome all along.
Yeah, really. It was.
The radio we were trying to connect to wasn't able to be connected in the way we were trying to connect to it, and we switched, and it worked fine. Switched to a different destination, and it worked just fine.
And how long?
But we didn't know that.
Okay.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
A good time was had by all.
Right. It was. Yeah, right. We'll send you the link, man. You need to come on. I mean, it's Steve's show. I guess technically Steve should invite you, not me. But
I just did.
Okay. I mean, not just I don't want you lurking in the chat.
All right. Well, I probably won't be doing that. I'm going to try to follow the instructions. I'm going to need to familiarize myself with this thing before Monday, though. Actually, shit. I got to travel this week. Maybe I'll tune in from Madison. We'll see. What time's the show?
7.
6:30.
6:30.
6:30 Central Time.
6:30. So yeah, I probably won't be able to commit to being in person. but yeah, I got to travel all week for work. Damn grown up
Work
stuff.
sucks.
Work sucks.
Really?
All right, folks, that's been another fantastic episode of Coffee and Ham Radios. We will see you on Jim's channel next Thursday. We'll see you on Ham Nuggets on Monday and in the video on demand between here and there. We'll see you all later.
Thanks, gents.